Want to be really, really happy in life? Don't take yourself so seriously. The more you ingest good, positive shows, even putting on videos of tropical beaches and making your first point and whomever you're with, your desires to lift them up, right? Of course, you're going to meet people and I'm happy going, oh my God, I'm in a candy shop. This guy's I take advantage of him. He's just happy go lucky. Be happy go lucky. At the same time, keep keep one eye a little more open than the others. And as you grow and as you become more of a better human being, and you will automatically become a better and a human being. You see, caterpillars have their process that they got to go into cocoon, but they eventually become butterflies. Human beings have their own metamorphosis. Some of them stay in their cocoon. They never go anywhere. Another thing of my advice I would say in life, don't don't wake up with blinds closed. Get rid of darkness in your life. And you know what? Cleanliness, man. Even if it's something you got to force yourself to, the more cleaner you keep your place, the more less cluttered you are, and the less stuff that you have. Go through your stuff and find out. Okay, you know what? I don't need this, this, and this, and this. I haven't used this in 3, 4 months. I don't think I'll ever have no use for it. Sell it. Give it away. Get rid of it. There really is. I can't even begin to describe it. I would say throughout the years I've learned the tighter you hang on to stuff, the more stuffier it will become, and your environment becomes stuffy. It's like cobwebs everywhere, right? In the spiritual realm, in a soul realm, people have cobwebs, and even if you go into some people's homes, you don't know what it is, but you will kind of see. Okay, so there are places like, let's say, the place not totally clean, or they try to make the place clean because you're coming over, right? That's where they fool you, put a snow you a little bit there, right? But you'll kind of notice there's a bit of a denseness about the atmosphere, a musty kind of atmosphere, right? People who don't take care of themselves are not really ever going to be taken care of. Even, there's the old saying about angels, cleanliness is next to godliness. There's a lot of truth to that. There really is a lot of truth to that. And I mean, that's something I've noticed. I can't speak for everybody, but I've noticed that people who don't keep themselves with good hygiene, they're usually quite depressed. They're always a kind of like and they walk around, it's kind of like a very morose way they have about them. And we live in societies that it's not as bad off. Let's say you lived in some of these third world countries where they have no other choice. They don't have social systems to help them. They got nothing, man. They got to learn to survive. When I was really young, I lived in South America. I used to walk for miles at really young age. My mom would have me walk for miles and it took me probably over a couple hours, whatever, to walk in the blazing sun to go help my grandmother with her gardening and so on and so forth, right? Just help her, a little bit, right? And come back. And she gave me a little bit of money just to get a snow cone on the way, right? Back home, right? That was my life and that was my world. And maybe from young, maybe I learned that. Well, I can't say that. I know why a lot of people I know who've grown up in those environments, they didn't. People who always find a reason to kind of like, well, it's because of this or because of that. That's why I'm like the way I am. No, anybody can change their tone. It's like a guitar, right? You got when you tune a guitar, you have harmonics. To make the two strings come into one tune to the next, right? You have to actually the harmonic. They both have to be in a harmonically correct on the fifth fret, right? As you do your tuning. It's the same about and number 5 means grace, by the way. It is the same with our life in the harmonics of life. that when we are hit that harmonic, it the tone changes, right? And for the tone to change, you have to really have to have that discipline to do it. You have that place in your life. And a lot of happiness, a lot of happiness comes out of the place of what people are doing in their life. There's the small things they're doing in their life. There's nothing worse than you be talking to somebody. No, I look. I'm not taking away from the fact that things can happen in your life and cause you to go into total complaint mode. Nothing wrong with that, right? Just time when you got to pour out and like, man, it's like you say, this is crazy, right? But there's a party that still has a smile on your face because if you've lived long enough, well, I remember how this worked out and that worked out. Well, why can't it happen again, right? I can't know. I wouldn't say it's a reminder, a gentle reminder that we realize how life, we can't take it for granted. But I would say that a better attitude you have about how you're going to live life will contribute immensely to what will and could take place in your life. If you're in an interview, for instance, with people who have a specific vibration, they're on a different harmony. You come walking here with a cloud all over you, they ain't gonna want to hire you. They're gonna go, "Oh my goodness gracious, it's called the exterminator on this bad energy here," right? So, getting away, you really want to make it your aim to get away from they call it bad energy, bad air. The thing is too about complainers and people who don't really end up being happy in their life is that they know how to suck the air out of the room. You walk in there, man, and you sit down and they will try. And trust me, if you really, really care about, see, it's another thing about being happy too, is that you really have to be very aware that what you have is precious. Being of a joyful aptitude, being of a happy disposition, it is an immense value. Money will give you an extension because money. If you're in a bad situation, money will help. But there's situations, and I know in my own life, but not at the extent I've met people who are so down and out, and yet they were happy, more grateful than people who I worked with to basically seem to have everything. Yeah, I remember this one night, there was a lady, this is years ago, that I was just inclined to. I mean, it's something that, and I'm not saying because of thinking, just talking about myself, but I'm just saying it in a sense that this is the way we ought to be as human beings, right? But she was a street lady, right? She looked like she gave up on life, but I had a sense. I mean, that's not about being happy or maintain the happiness. When you get a tug in your heart for merciful acts, jump on it. Don't walk away from it. It matters. It contributes. It's a benefit. You get a benefit from it. You don't do it because of the benefit, but you will get a benefit from it, guaranteed. Mercy has major benefits for you, besides the fact that God loves the merciful, right? Angels love the merciful. But the thing is, she was down and out, and I went and I gave her some money. And some people say, "Well, he's a bum. Don't give her the money." But I trusted her. Just something about her. I took her out for a meal and everything. Tried to get her some shoes. Went and gave her my blanket, my sleeping bag, and I remember we went to this pizza place, and the guy who owned the place, just because she stunk, she smelled of urine, right? But it was really sad, just something inside me just said, you really don't know people's stories and the things that go on with people, right? And if you're in a position to do it, man, I tell you, it's a pathway to happiness. Do it. You just don't know what people go through in their life. Don't ever turn away from them. If you're in a position, some people you got to be wise about giving, right? But you'll know. He was really mean to her. and he tried to shame her and everything, and he wanted her in his restaurant and everything. So I bought dinner for her, and I bought dinner for myself. And we sat. I said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, man. We sat outside, right? And the guy who was working with him looked over, and I knew that me and him communicated. Like it was like we didn't have to say a word. That guy basically looked at me as much as to say thank you. Maybe because they saw her or he noticed her, right? If she was maybe going back and forth in the street, and maybe he took mercy on her. It's kind of funny how things work, you know, this relative world that we live in, everything's also connected. But that night, it was later on in the night, I didn't know what else to do, and I didn't want to have her come back to my place just for the sake it was a lady and everything else. You don't want to know what can happen, right? So I gave her some more money, and I made sure that where she went to was going to stay overnight. And I said, if you can, I asked the guy if he can stay here, and I said, are you sure me okay? So I asked her if she can, whatever area she's going to be, I'll come looking for her because I was interested. You know, I want to make sure she's going to be okay. And at that time, I was working and everything else. And, you know, 2 weeks later, I went into that place to get a slice of pizza, and the one of the glasses totally smashed. And it wasn't her that did it, of course, but something happened in the building. The owner looked at me, and the look in his eyes was like that, like he saw a ghost. And it's like I sense that maybe he sensed that this had something to do. It's a conductive thing. Something had something to do with his lack of mercy towards her, and it has started to affect his business. And I'll tell you something about being happy in life. You don't ever, 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 ever want to get in the pathway of of a return to sender. That's one of the main things about the pathway to happiness, man. Make sure whenever, however, you maintain the place that you can be so kind to you because God is so kind to you, to maintain the place of gratitude, upbeatedness, being happy, and also being wise with who will try to bring you down. But I would say immensely more than anything else. With that, that's also important too. There's a certain elation because maybe it's God just deposited into your life that He's happy that you did something for a member of His creation. Same goes with animals that are starving, whatever. Be merciful, man, no matter where, because you just never know your position, which your position be in life, and that happiness will stay with you. I can speak from experience. That happiness will stay and stay light. And when I mean light as a feather, you know, just don't get heavy. Don't allow heaviness around you. You all have a good day. We'll talk again. And do like and subscribe. By the way, please, see ya.